Greetings and welcome to Two Melanated Minds. I'm your host, Chris Enlightened, and I'm joined by my co-host, Dr. J. Today we'll be going deep on the disease of racism and what we need to do. You know, right now there's a lot of people of all races and nationalities that are fed up with the mindset of some of the people here in America. The racist culture that's being passed down has run its course and is no longer being accepted. The consciousness of the collective minds of people are shifting. The blatant racism that we're being exposed to is outdated, and the people are done suffering in silence. So, Dr. J, what's your take on the disease of racism and what we need to do?
Racism, white supremacy. We're talking about a pandemic. We're talking about the pandemic of racism, white supremacy that has been a disease from the founding of this country. You know, there comes a time when all things that are not true will come to light. One of the biggest problems we have is that institutional racism is a part of this country. The day that the American flag gives someone pause, not in a good way, that's a bad day. Now, the reason why this subject, and I'm going to calm myself as I speak about it, because I live in a community that I am definitely, I don't like the term a person of color because that's not specific. And every ethnic group has a different experience. So for the highly melanated, Aboriginal, African American, our experience is different from all the other people of color. Even in that term, it negates our blackness. Now, a person doesn't have to agree with me, but the beauty of this country is that we all can have our own opinions and we can discuss them intelligently if we choose to do so. Racism has always been here and it's never going to go away. We are never going to erase racism. Even those who have mixed children thinking, okay, my children are half black. I'm not racist. I want you to check yourself because I can prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that even during the times of enslavement, the master was having sex with Africans, having babies by them, could care less about them, could sell them, could beat them, could kill them. Didn't matter. Some disturbing things have been happening for the last 400 or 500 years. People thought that when Obama became president that we were in a post-racial society. I really want to know where they got that ignorant idea. Some people are blaming racism, the increase in racism on Obama being president. What it is the people who have been racist the whole time have felt the need to voice their ignorance. And so what we have is a country that is polarized. We have a large group that want to hold on to this false ideology that they are superior and believe everything the media shows them about black people when they don't even know enough black people to make an educated decision. They want to hold on to, I have had certain people's videos thrown in my face. Well, what about this person? What about that person who does not speak for me as a black woman? And just because someone looks like me does not mean that they understand what it is to be me and have my experience. So we have this whole powder keg of stuff that's going on. At the same time, we have people from all different nationalities, ethnic groups, countries, cultures, sexualities who are standing firm saying enough is enough. My question is, when did you decide that? Did you decide that on George Floyd? Did you decide that with Tamir Rice? Did you decide that with Trayvon Martin? When did you decide that enough is enough? And do you really understand what we're going through? Do you really understand what it is to be stopped by police and have to be wondering this is the day that you're going to die. And we'll even take it off the police. Just the overt and covert racism that we deal with every day, from comments about our hair to, thinking that they can use the N-word, to all kinds of ignorant things that people say and do, and that they claim that it's innocent. They claim, I'm sorry, I made this statement. That's not really how I feel. I didn't know I was causing harm. They know. Even right now, when the world is saying this has gone too far and it needs to stop, those with so-called good intentions are making buffoons out of themselves. I'm sorry, Democratic Party, putting kente cloth around your neck and kneeling is not going to solve the problem. I'm not impressed. Now, I know, Chris, this is shocking to you, but this is what I'm seeing, and this is how I feel. And according to all the conversations I've been having lately, I am not alone. What do you think?
You know me. One thing about me is I feel you. I mean, everything you said is right, true, and exact. I mean, there's so much duality going on right now, where there's a lot of people that are angry and suffering. And on the other side of that, there are other people that are choosing to win within this madness. Because no matter what's going on in your delusionary reality that seems really real, you have the choice to either focus on the negative, or you have the choice to focus on the winning aspect. And whenever things are really hard and suffering, that means there's a lot of winning going on that you can tap into. Now, my stance is I feel for my people. I was one of the most militant brothers that you would ever know 10 years ago. But everything that people are doing now, the boycotting, the marching, I was in groups trying to corral people together and make all these changes mentally, and no one wanted to do it. They were too comfortable. Now, me personally, I know it sounds a little harsh, but I don't want to say I'm glad that this happened, but I'm glad of the results that is happening, because it's making people have no choice but to get together and corral together and stand for something. I just think we've been too comfortable within the madness to make a change, because I don't feel as if change is going to come. No one's going to just give you change. You have to take change. You have to take it. And these young folk, they ain't having it no more. These young, they seem like they young souls, but these are the ones who were persecuted back in the day that's come back to say, we've had enough. Somewhere within the chasm of their consciousness, they ain't having it. And I love seeing our youth standing, and we need elders like ourselves out there guiding the way, letting them know, like, okay, this is how you do it, But me, my stance is I'm focusing on getting that bread, because we need, if we're essentially at war without the guns and the fighting, we have to make it an economic war. And I'm helping a lot of brothers and sisters quit their jobs, make more money on the side, making way more money than they ever dreamed of having on the side, tripling people's salary on the side for those who choose to believe that they deserve that wealth. See, this thing that's going on right now, we need people out there marching, we need people out there boycotting, and we need financial backing, because we don't have nowhere to go. If something happens, where are we going to go? Who has our back? We have to have our own back. And we need people like me who are willing to put things aside to get that bread, to get the money, to help out the movement. Now, my stance is I'm an extreme strategist. I played 10 to 20 games of chess every day, been doing it since I was 9 years old. Some people call me a chess master. I don't care about titles, because I learn every game. We need to be more strategic. I've taken on 3 new students, teaching them martial arts. Every 6 months, I'm going to do the same thing, because it's not about the gun. When the bullets go run out, what you got then? So I'm choosing to fight a different way. I'm fighting financially. I'm fighting spiritually. I'm fighting through martial arts. But the thing about a battle is you don't want to show your hand. So I'm doing things in silence. On Facebook and Instagram, you see me winning, peace and love, family. You see all that.
Peace
But
and love.
there's a whole nother side of me that I don't show because I'm moving silence. I like to make moves, so by the time you see what I'm doing, it's too late. I'm already approaching. But if I tell you what I'm going to do, you have time to prepare. And my stance on this whole movement is, let's get together. Let's move in silence. All these people showing their cards, showing their anger. Let's get into small groups of 100 or less and really make a change. That's my stance on it.
Well, when you understand war, you understand that there's more than one strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people, finances, not a problem for me, haven't been a problem for me for a very, very long time. I have financed some things. I had a couple of people kind of hurt me and they said, well, you're the bank. I didn't like hearing that, but when I sat back and thought about it, yeah, I am the bank. The bank is now closed. Let me make that clear. We're not doing that anymore because, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for the day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And so I'm teaching people how to fish, those who want to learn. Now, the thing about, me, it takes different types of people. There's talkers who want to sit there and be intellectual and waste 40 years talking about the problem and not coming up with a solution. People that like to talk, they're very intelligent. They may be educated, but that's all they're going to do. And then you have doers. And these are the people that are going to go out and do what's necessary. These are the ones on the front lines marching. These are the ones that are maybe you can't march. You're making signs. Maybe you bought the cases of water and brought it out there so the marchers can have something to drink in this heat. Maybe you're a teacher. Maybe, teaching is a revolutionary act. Maybe you are putting together a support group for families or for the single parents, or you're spending time helping the elders. Those are all revolutionary acts. There are different ways to fight this war. You have to understand your enemy, and you know what? There's no reason for us not to understand the enemy because we've been taught about the enemy since we were born. And the enemy is not white people, because white people have made it where we can move forward. So they're not the enemy. The enemy are the racists. The enemy are those that want to uphold that, system of white male capitalist patriarchy. They want that system. Look at A.G. Barr and your president and all these other people who have been voted into office because people are afraid of change. And some people are afraid that we're going to do to them what they did to us, and nobody's thinking that way. That's ludicrous. We don't want anything different than what anybody else wants. We want what the Black Panther Party talked about in their 10-point platform. We want the ability to take care of our families. We want good health care. We want good education. We want security. We want to be able to walk down the street, jog in our community, and not have to worry about being hunted down like a rabid dog and murdered. We want to be able to go bird watching and not have somebody call the police and lie to get us killed because we want you to put your dog on a leash. You want to be able to sell water without having the police called on us. You want to be able to barbecue in the park. I've seen so much social media of things that are going on. I had to say, okay, let me take a break, because there's no way we could possibly know how much hatred is out there. And love is always stronger than hate. It's always stronger. But just because hate is running rampant does not mean you sit there and do nothing. And this is the problem I have with some people. You sit there, you could talk about it, but you will do nothing. There's something all of us can do. Those kids are out there. I've been to 3 protests. Those kids are out there. They are unafraid. Some of these kids are in high school. I don't even think they really understand the magnitude of what they're doing and what they're really standing for. But I applaud them. And I'm proud of them because even if their parents are small-minded and ignorant, they refuse to believe that. They see the good in everyone and the bad in everyone. And so us elders, every group has their issues. Every group. Us elders have a responsibility. Granted, our parents were involved in the civil rights movement. We were not old enough to be in the civil rights movement. Some of us weren't even born yet, or we were babies. Our parents went through that, and they gained a lot. And we were the recipients of that gain. But because we had that gain, we forgot the struggle. And so we got complacent thinking everything was great. And then history repeats itself. And now we're the elders. And they're the youth. And we have a duty to sit back and think about, okay, what is our part in this? What can we do? What kind of guidance can we give? If nothing but support, if nothing but a bunch of Capri Suns and granola bars just so they can have some type of nourishment. There's no reason. Yes, securing the bag is important. We have to build. We need black businesses, and we need to patronize black-owned businesses. We need schools that teach an Afrocentric curriculum. There's so much that we need to do. We need to stick together when it comes to business because I'm not mad at other groups that take care of each other. That's what they're supposed to do.
Uh-huh.
We said the Asians only spend their money with Asians. That's what they're supposed to do.
Uh-huh.
The Latinos only spend with Latinos. That's what they're supposed to do. We are supposed to do that. We did it before integration. When we were segregated, we had all that. When integration came, we walked away. We wanted the other side of the pie, and we suffered for that. So we need to rebuild. So America can get mad when we start to rebuild. Don't get mad. We learned it from you.
Oh. Beautifully said. Beautifully spoken. That's one thing that we have to relearn how to do. Is integrate our own minds with our own people, because there's racism within our own community, and we need to eradicate that as well. We need to all be on the same accord, and we all need to work together and win. One thing that I talk to my nieces and my nephews and other people, my phone's been ringing off the hook. Everyone's asking me, Chris Enlightened, what should we do? And I always say, you can't change the mindset of the people that are hating you. That's not going to work. We have to get on the same mental accord and devise a plan of attack. But it's not really a direct attack. It's more of an inner attack on ourselves so we can dissolve all the wrong programming that we've accepted for generations. Once we do that, we can usurp our real divinity and start thinking of ways to cultivate plans to prosper. Once we do that, that's when there will be some real change. Me, I'm not one for protesting anymore, because again, we need people doing that, but I'm one of those guys that's great with strategy. I'm a great teacher, and I do things behind the scenes. I'm an orchestrator. I'm a great orchestrator. And that's what I'm good at. And I think whatever your strong suit is, that's what you should do. Because you mentioned there's doers and talkers. I'm not a talker. Well, you know what? I'm an amalgamation of a talker and a doer. Because I'll talk about it and I'll do it. I just don't show my cards. That's just not me anymore. And I got bad feet. I can't be walking all day like that no more. But anyway, I'm for the cause. I'm all for the cause. And I love the passion of the young folks. and I love the passion of the elders. I just think that we need to really get together in small groups, small bubbles of power on the same accord. We need to be like Marcus Garvey, how he had a paper going out, and he had millions of followers before like the radio. It's like we have the internet now. There's no reason why we can't be using all this technology that we have to corral together to create a herding consciousness of winning, you know? But right now I see a whole bunch of herding consciousness of anger, reactionary people, and I don't see it doing anything. Again, it's changing things, but I just think we could be more effective putting all that energy and time focus in other areas. You know, that's just my stance on it.
Well, we certainly have other areas we can focus on, but the bottom line, and this is what, I mean, you know, we're tired. We've been on the planet longer than these kids. We're tired. We've been through, they haven't even began to experience what we've experienced. But I'll say this, you know, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and you expect a different result, that's insanity. We have marched. We have been nonviolent. We have begged for the crumbs off the table. And at this point, we got to stop begging and, like you said, take it. Stop asking for humanity. Demand it and take it. That's what we need to do. No, we're older. We ain't marching. Look, my knees can't take that much marching. You know, I pretty much show up and I'm there, and you know, I'm not taking no 2-3 mile march. Can't do it. I could, but it's 100 degrees. I'm not trying to. But I'm supportive.
Yeah. We
need people who are going to march. We need people who are going to write legislators to write legislators. See, I write legislators. I use my credentials to get what I need, because they may not listen to Barbara down the street, but they'll listen to Doctor. So I write legislators. I created 11-point program. We went on air today. It'll be aired tonight. We went on air and talked about what needs to be done, and we talked about the 8. They have something called the 8 something, where they have certain things that they want police departments to do, and some of these police departments already have it, and they're still killing people. We have to not just look at the police, but we have to look at others, because the focus is on police, but we're still being lynched. They just don't understand it's a different type of lynching. And then we have to address, our mindsets, because how many of us really know our history? How many of us know who we really are? How many of us even know about our ancestors? See, I look at it like this. Our ancestors are screaming right now because they're saying, seize the moment. All this quick to kneel. Now they want to kneel. Now they want to wear kente cloth. Now they want to apologize. They know it. I don't buy any of it, because I know a spade when I see one. I don't buy it. We've been such emotional people, even in church. If the music is right and the pastor's screaming and hollering enough, all of a sudden you're going to empty out your whole bank account. We're emotional people because we're spiritual. We're spiritual people, and that has been used against us. And so we would rather sit back and say, well, I'm going to pray about it. That's not going to get us free. Nothing wrong with prayer. I pray myself. But that's not going to get us free. Action gets us free. Prevention gets us free. Having an offense and a defense gets us free. Teaching the truth, having allies. I mean, it's not our job to educate white people on their privilege. They can pick up a book just like anybody else. We get so exhausted trying to explain to them why certain things are wrong, why we can't accept it. They don't want to see it because they're afraid. They're afraid. I listen to Jane Elliott. She talks about a book called The Birth Dearth by Ben Wattenberg. You need to read it if you can find it. There's so many things that they're afraid of, and they don't need to be afraid. When your spirit knows that you haven't done right, when your spirit knows deep down inside, regardless if you grew up in buttfuck Iowa or if you grew up in Florida, the whole state got a problem to me. No matter where you grew up, you know when something deep down inside, your spirit knows it's not right. Call yourself. Examine self. Some of us, while all this is going on, are embarrassing me. They're embarrassing me because instead of, strategizing, what do we do next? We have had how long to talk about what do we do next? We have all these agencies and entities that are supposed to speak for us that, as far as I'm concerned, have been silent.
Mm-hmm.
All these people that have been put in these places that are supposed to be our leadership, I didn't vote for them. What makes them a leader? They have been silent. They have done nothing. They have accomplished nothing. They have said nothing. So I'm really looking at this, and a person can say, man, she's kind of rough, or she's militant, or whatever you want to call it. I'm a realist. And I sit back, and I watch, and I listen, and I see. And where's the leadership? Where is the leadership? We can't have the same people, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. They've been leading since the 60s, and we're still in the same predicament.
Mm-hmm.
We need new leadership. Everybody can be a leader. We don't need one person to follow. Everybody can learn to be a leader. Everybody can take a step forward. Everybody can create, and everybody can build. Let's get our financial situation in order. I don't have a problem with money. Some of us do. So what do you need to get rid of to have that money? Maybe you need to stop buying $250 tennis shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you need to take that $250 for each pair of tennis shoes that you have, because you got 12 pairs of tennis shoes, and you need to take that and start a business with it. Or you need to buy stocks, or you need to do something to elevate. That right there is revolutionary. Bartering is revolutionary, because if you don't have money but you have a need, you can trade sources, trade resources. Raising kids, all that is revolutionary. We can look at each other and create support groups and make it happen.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned investing. And one of the biggest things you can invest in right now is yourself. For months, I've been trying to get brothers and sisters to invest while it was at dirt cheap. All my stocks have jumped up over 600%. I know. And it's like free pickings out there right now. And it's still not too late. It's still not too late to get in, family. But one thing I really want us to stop doing is drinking from an unclean cup of uncertainty and ingesting the same fear-based program that we've been doing for, like you said, Dr. J, from the 60s. We need a new program that's going to really help us win. One thing about technology is things change over time, and you can't continue to do the same thing over and over. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I see our people doing. The same thing over and over. And it's time for us, like you said, to make a change and make a stance and make things happen. So, Dr. J, I think we need a 2-part show. So let's continue this conversation our next show and make a part 2. Because I don't think 30 minutes is going to be long enough for us to address everything that we need to address.
I think that's definitely needed. We're flushing it out right now. Again, our conversations aren't scripted. We're just having a conversation unapologetically. But we need to have a part two, and we need to talk about some other things that we can do besides marching, besides making signs. There's other things that we need to do with our community, for our community, by our community.
Well, Dr. J, I want to leave the family with this. I feel as if the depth of your fears dictates the summit of your knowledge. Stop allowing your power to be used against you in an unfavorable way, family. The limitations in your life are dissolved when you choose to absorb particles of light versus particles of darkness. You all have the power to change the reality around you by the way you think and act. Your limitations are dissolved by the will you impose on your challenges. And challenges help you evolve, family. You have anything to conclude, Dr. J?
The only thing I'm going to tell you, again, this is the time. There is a spiritual shift. And if you don't see the spiritual shift and take your part, your place, then do not be surprised if history repeats itself again, where there will be no winners.
Well said, Dr. J. Well, family, I appreciate your time, and there will be a part two to this, and I'll be sure to release part two next week. Have a great day.
Peace. Winning.
Winning!